Okay, thanks Lindsay. Thanks folks for coming along this afternoon. It's always lovely. We've got a bit of an audience, especially when they're keen, interested students like yourself wanting to learn more about our organisation. So thanks for coming along to meet with us. So I'm Debbie McKenzie, as Lindsay says, I coordinate the graduate programme here at Wheatley Group, and joined with me this afternoon I have Angus and Kira, who's housing graduates on the programme at the moment. Now we'll get to hear from Angus and Kira in just a bit. They will answer probably most of the questions that you have about what does the job actually involve, what happens day to day, and they'll be able to give you answers because they're out there doing the job that we would be recruiting housing graduates for at the minute. So I'll take you through some slides. I promise you it is only a short presentation, but it's just to share a wee bit more with you about who Wheatley Group are and what do we do. And for some of you, I'm guessing you're here because you're already interested, but for others, you might come across some information that's new that you didn't know about us beforehand. Now, at the end of that, we will open up the floor. So if you have questions, pop them in the chat, raise your hand, just shout out. And for those of you that are a little bit camera shy this afternoon, we always would love to see your face, just because if you do decide to apply with us and then we see you again through a recruitment process, it's always great to recognise where we met you and put a face to a name. So if you're wanting to put your camera on, if you want to be famous on YouTube on your careers site, then go for it. If you want to hang off until we go to Q&A, that's absolutely fine, but it would be lovely to see a face so that we could recognise you again in future. Okay, so I'll pop up some slides just now, share a little bit with you about who we are and what we do as an organisation. So apologies, give me a wee second. So I'm going to give you just a brief overview of the organisation and our graduate programme. So who are we? So we are Scotland's largest housing, care and property management group. Now you'll see here on this image, we comprise of 10 subsidiaries. So there may be a subsidiary in there you recognise that's recently changed. So Glasgow Housing Association is one of our original subsidiaries, and you would hear lots more about that if you were to come through the recruitment process. You would hear more about how Wheatley Group was born, if you like, a number of years ago. But Glasgow Housing Association is the biggest of our subsidiaries and probably the one that you would most likely recognise. Now, other subsidiaries there are based across Edinburgh, the Lothians, and even down to Dumfries and Galloway. Now, there's one subsidiary in there, one of our housing subsidiaries here, which is Cube, which recently merged with Glasgow Housing Association. But I've left that in there because it might be one that you would recognise and think, where is it going? Has it just disappeared? We also have a care part of the business. So I said that we provide those services as part of our day-to-day running, and that's the second largest part of the organisation, where we provide a variety of care services across a variety of settings that really does make a difference to customers' lives. So you can see there at the top our mission to make homes and lives better, and we do that across all sectors of the business that we operate in. Within our property management side, we deliver environmental services, we deliver a factoring service for customers that own their properties, and we also deliver a mid-market rental part of the business. So that's Lowther, comprises of all of those parts, and it's the mid-market rent, very different from the social housing and social renting market. It's very much similar to the private rented sector. Now, how do we make all of that work? It's a huge organisation. We need all of this business support wrapped round about it, almost as though they're behind the scenes, making everything work that faces out towards customers. So we do that across 3 different subsidiaries that we have there. So Wheatley Solutions, part of Wheatley Solutions is IT, human resources, finance, governance, and lots of different functions that make the business operate. We have a charitable part of our organisation, which is Wheatley Foundation, where any profit that's made from the organisation is spent through Wheatley Foundation, given back to our customers. And we'll hear a wee bit more about that just shortly. But various funds, bursaries, education grants, book projects that are delivered through the foundation out to our customers that need it. And Wheatley 360 is that all-encompassing service that wraps around all of the other services that we provide, so across housing, care and the property management part. Now, Wheatley 360 in the housing setting can cover a variety of functions. That looks like internal police, so we have colleagues from Police Scotland seconded in to Wheatley. We also have colleagues from the fire service. We also have colleagues from intelligence service through the police as well. That also comprises of an antisocial behaviour team, an allocations team, and different functions that wrap mostly around that housing role, but touch all parts of the business. Okay, so you can see in the map there, where do we operate? It's mostly across central Scotland and down to Dumfries and Galloway. And we even have one property that's kind of out, it's on Rothesay, so out at Argyll and Bute as well. You can see that's the first one on the map there. It's only one property, but that housing officer makes himself very busy in the summer months going to visit that one customer that we have out there. So what are our achievements? I've told you a little bit about who we are, but I suppose across the housing sector, we're pretty well known. But what did we achieve? So our last strategy covered from 2015 up until last year, and these are just some of the highlights that I've pulled for you that may be of interest about what we achieved during our last strategy. So over the past 5-6 years, we have built or approved for 5,000 new homes. We've created almost 3,500 job opportunities or apprenticeships. That also includes graduates. And we have been recognised as the biggest builder of social housing in the UK for the past 4 years. So huge figures there. I'm not going to go through all of them, but you can see there making an impact out there across the social housing sector and beyond. So there's one stat in there in particular that I like to touch on, which is 12,000 homeless people and families were provided with a home. So if you think if you've followed any of the press, particularly in Glasgow, around homelessness over the past 5 to 10 years, you'll have read that homelessness is becoming an increasing problem. But there we can see that within our organisation, particularly across the housing roles that we have rehoused 12,000 of those homeless customers that otherwise would have possibly been staying in temporary accommodation or with an unsecured tenancy. Okay. So you want to know a wee bit more about the graduate programme. Now I've told you about who we are. What do we offer as a graduate programme at Wheatley? So if you were to come and join us on our graduate programme, we would offer you a 2-year traineeship designed to get you ready for the housing officer role. And this is what Kira and Angus have stepped up into that role just in a very short period of time after joining the organisation, because the opportunities are plentiful here. You would also gain an accredited qualification for that solid foundation in housing. So if you're here today and you're studying another discipline not related to housing, that's fine. We welcome any discipline. It's more about the fit. Are you the right fit? Are you the right person to deliver the services to our customers? Okay, we've had a variety of students apply from all degree disciplines. We've got students that have studied HR, finance, marketing, public policy, social sciences, psychology. We even have quantity surveyors, people that have studied construction coming through to us. So it's more about you as a person rather than what your degree discipline has been. The dedicated support and coaching from your own leadership mentor. So as you move into your 2nd year with us of your traineeship, you are matched with a leadership mentor in the organisation. And that's for you to, I suppose, unleash your own leadership potential within the business. Because like I say, opportunities are plentiful, and there could be opportunities that come up during your traineeship where there is the chance to step into that leadership role. Okay, now opportunities for leadership may be beyond that 2-year period, but having that leadership mentor, someone to speak with about your experience and what you're working on, will only help you develop. You're also given the opportunity to raise your profile and contribute to our strategic business projects. So if you were to go ahead and apply and join the organisation, you'll be joining at such an exciting time. And Ciara and Angus will share a bit about what's going on out there at the front line in the housing teams. But just now, we have just launched a new strategy, and I'll share with you what we're hoping to achieve. And you could be part of that, making a huge impact out there across social housing, and really living up to that mission statement that we have about making homes and lives better. You would also have the opportunity to develop that professional reputation and networking. So that would just be a good solid start to your career here at Wheatley and across that wider housing sector. Okay. Now, this is one of our graduate cohorts. This is our very first Ignite cohort, and I have a short video to play with you where they share some of their highlights. These guys joined us back in 2019, so a number of years ago. They're all still with us, so with 100% retainment for this particular group, and they'll share some of their highlights. Now, bear in mind this is pre-pandemic, and Ciara and Angus will share some of their highlights when we come to kind of question time, but I'll let you view this just now.
I think the highlight for me over the first 6 months of our programme has definitely been when I was signing up a tenant. The gentleman told me that a few months previous he'd lost his previous property because a landlord had decided to sell it. So it was on his daughter's birthday, and you could tell it was a really horrible day for him. In the last few months he's been living with family, sofa surfing. So just seeing the excitement of him getting his own property and a room for his daughter, it was lovely.
My highlight for the first 6 months of the programme has been meeting with my mentors. We've all been paired up with mentors that are going to really help push our development, and it's just made me really excited to see what I'm really interested in focusing in on within this really varied sector.
So my highlight of the last 6 months, I think, has been finding a career that was really unexpected, but also so rewarding and diverse. I never expected to love housing as much as I do. You know, whether that's my day-to-day role, dealing with customers, learning my postgrad, which has been amazing, kind of learning about all the issues and the changes the sector's gone through, and then also all the development opportunities the Ignite programme has provided us.
I'd say for me, the highlight's definitely just been meeting everyone at Wheatley.
For me, the same as Morgan, but on top of that, work in sustainability, one of the key things we try and do is change people's perceptions and get them to think about the environment more. And I had a real small victory the other day when I had one of my mentor meetings with Anne McKenzie, and she said that while she was having breakfast, she heard Greta Thunberg come up in the news, and she stopped what she was doing to watch it because she was just thinking about what I was like.
So my biggest highlight so far has been able to utilise Think Yes. Recently, one of my customers approached me and we had a job interview coming up, and he didn't have anything to wear, and we were able to use the Think Yes budget and get him an outfit for his interview, and fingers crossed everything goes well for him.
I completely agree. My best thing is or my highlight has been working really closely with my customers, especially the vulnerable ones, and kind of building a one-to-one relationship.
I'd have to agree with Lauren on that. It's been fantastic being able to be in a position where I feel like I can make a real difference in my customers' lives, and this wouldn't have been able if I hadn't had the great working relationship that I do with my colleagues.
Our biggest highlight has been hosting the Gem Shack in Glasgow. It was really exciting to invite people from all different organisations to come and see what we're doing here in Glasgow to promote social regeneration.
So working in the employee relations team, I got to attend a training day on neurodiversities, and this was an excellent opportunity for me to learn about how different diversities affect people and how we can implement strategies to help those people with those diversities to excel within the organisation.
My highlight has been working on my first audit and being able to see the process from the beginning right through to the end. I know I'm really excited about the future as well. I think that the graduate programme so far has been really supportive, so I'm really excited to see what else we do with it.
Okay.
I would say I'm really ambitious. I think the main driver for that ambition is wanting to make a difference and a positive impact on the society and communities in Scotland. And I see a position in leadership as one of the main ways to achieve that and make a difference and think strategically about the organisation, but also the sector in general. So I'm really looking forward to working towards that goal.
Okay, let me just get back to my slides. So you heard the graduates were speaking about different ways that they've influenced the ways of working across the organisation, different policies, different services we provide to customers, and different areas of the business. So we've got some graduates that are in there that moved into business roles. You heard from Emma, who's in HR, and you heard from Morgan and Peter, who are also in business roles, and that just shows the variety that there is available across our organisation. Now, Angus and Kira today, they're housing graduates, so they will tell you more about the housing role, and that's where we need the majority of our housing graduates to deliver services and to learn, because, and Angus and Kira will agree with this, that having that solid knowledge and foundation in housing really will allow them to move anyway in the business, because they then have that understanding about why we do what we do and why we deliver those services and how they impact our customers. So without that, it would be difficult to move across the business and really understand how we operate as an organisation. So let's have a little look at what we hope to achieve. So what we're hoping, I said to you that we have just recently launched a new strategy, and hopefully by hearing some of those highlights, that's kind of piqued your interest again, now that you've heard from some graduates. But what do we hope to achieve? What would you be joining us to work on? So we hope to achieve 90% or over 90% customer satisfaction. We hope to rehome around 10,000 homeless customers and provide them with a warm, safe home. We have committed to building another 5,500 homes across our stock areas. And again, that number there, the 4,000, so more than what we've delivered before, jobs, apprenticeships and training opportunities. And what we would love to see happen is that we have over 70% of our neighbourhoods that are classed as peaceful. Now, it's easy to say it's a peaceful neighbourhood, but actually for our customers to feel safe, to feel that they are part of a community, that's going to be quite a bit of work for us. So you would definitely be joining in to be part of that, especially out there in housing. How do we hope to achieve this? Well, we have recently implemented a new hybrid working, a flexible working policy, and for our employees, we will be moving more towards that full hybrid working model. At the moment, obviously with restrictions, the majority of our staff have been working from home where they can. We will continue to do that. We will work more in our communities. This is what Angus and Kira do on a daily basis. They're out meeting customers, out making a real difference in the areas that we deliver services. But there will be plenty of opportunities to come together as a group, come together as a team, meet other graduates, meet other people across the organisation, and we will do that using our centres of excellence and hubs. So if any of you know Glasgow City Centre, you may have walked past our office. It's in Cochrane Street, just at the side of City Chambers. It's recently been renovated, and we're pretty proud of the fact that it was all recycled material, and we're working towards that net carbon zero footprint with all of the future renovations that we're carrying out and local offices. Now, if that sounds like a bit of you and you're interested in coming to join us, then there is a recruitment process to go through. So Ciara and Angus can share a little bit with you what that was like. Stage one would be do a bit of research, find out a bit more about us. Now, there's plenty of information out there about who we are as an organisation, and there's plenty of people that you can contact through our website if you want to speak to someone. So I would encourage you to do your research before you do your application. The next stage would be you would be shortlisted, and if successful, you would be invited along to an assessment centre. Now, our assessment centre for the last 2 years we've delivered virtually, which is going fantastically well. That's part of the process that we would likely keep as a virtual process rather than move to face-to-face. That's something, if you were to come through that process, I'm sure you would agree that the virtual part of it is a lot less painful than making your way into Glasgow City Centre at rush hour, running about a building where you don't know anybody, you don't know where you're going, and you've got a timetable. It's much easier to do on Zoom, and we've got one of our colleagues, he lifts you about a Zoom session, so it runs fantastically well. After assessment centre, we make another cut. So we assess you throughout the day, and if you are successful, then we would invite you along. Now, the next part of it, it's not assessed, it's purely for information, and it was something that Angus came along to and he said he found particularly useful, was Q&A time with current Wheatley graduates. So you have these guys with you today, but what you might find is that during recruitment process, and especially after assessment centre, it throws up a lot of questions because you're being assessed on tasks and skills that you would use on a day-to-day basis, and you get to hear from lots of people in the organisation. So naturally you're going to have questions. We found that last time round for our recruitment process, adding in that Q&A time really was helpful for those candidates that had reached that part of the process. Now, the next part of the process was a face-to-face interview with a panel of our managing directors. So we had candidates come along, meet in person, and that was something everyone was really excited about at the time. This was kind of back summertime last year, where restrictions were just getting lifted at the time. So the thought of getting back into an office and coming to meet with other people was pretty exciting, let alone the excitement of interviewing new candidates, new prospective graduates coming to join us. Now, the final stage of the process, again, after the panel interview, we make another cut, and if you're successful at that stage, you would be invited along to meet our executive team as the final stage in the process. Now, it's a lot less daunting than what it actually sounds. Angus and Ciara probably tell you different, but it's an opportunity not many people get. It's only through the graduate process or senior leadership recruitment that you actually get to spend any time with the executive team. It's not what we do for every recruitment. They would never be done meeting people if that was the case, but a fantastic opportunity to come and share a little bit about you and why you're passionate about working in housing. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'll take the slides off the screen, and I'm going to open up the floor. Hopefully that's generated some questions for you, and you can either raise your hand, pop it in the chat and ask away anything that you would like to know.